Hi, everybody, it's Julie, and we have an exciting new release over at ellenhudson.com. In the month of April, it's all about birthdays, and I have a couple of contributions I wanted to share. I have some new stamps, new dies, and some hot foil stamps. And to get started, I am going to talk about Hey You. Now, I am a sucker for typography. I love lettering, letter forms, type, words, and I really like them when they're big and can fill up like the whole card front. And this one has a really nice bold lettering, and I thought it would be fun to have an inline version that complemented it. So you can use these independently of each other, or you really start to have fun when you use them together. So I wanted to share one idea that I came up with, and that is coloring each of the letters a different ink color. And I worked with Catherine Pooler's water-based dye inks. I love their inks. And after I got done stamping these in the different letters, I went ahead and stamped the inline text right over the top in a fun bold blue. And I think it's called Fiesta. Yep, Fiesta Blue. So yeah, lots of fun colors here. And then I did something else. I hot foil stamped over the top of this, and I don't know if you can see that. I'm going to try to tilt it in the light to see if you can get the effect. This is the brand new confetti hot foil stamp. I've always wanted one, and I'm really excited to have this one. I just like how random they are, and you have a couple of, I don't know if you can see that, but a couple of them, kind of cross over just like they do in real life, when they're drifting down or falling onto the table surface. And I use the Spellbinders opal foil. This is like Carissa's favorite foil, I think. She's always raving about it. And I was like, okay, I got to get my hands on some of this stuff. And it's great. It foils beautifully. It has an iridescent finish, but it is transparent. So if you've stamped something, you need to make sure that you let the ink dry completely before you foil over the top. Otherwise, the foil may not stick the way it's supposed to. But this stuff is really fun because it's transparent and you can see the ink colors showing through, and it gives that beautiful opalescent sheen or shimmer, or it's kind of an iridescence. But anyway, I love the effect, and I think it's fun to use it over the top of my stamped words here. So a lot of fun with that. And I also wanted to show you what it looks like with a high contrast here. This is using the Gemini foil press foils, and this is their rose gold. It's very beautiful. It's a matte finish, but I think it looks really shiny still here, even though it's not that super high gloss finish that we're used to with foils. I think it just looks so cool, and it's opaque, so it does block the color behind it, and it looks like real confetti, that's fallen down onto the card front. So lots of fun. And this is Basil Card Shop. I thought it foiled great, so no worries there. And then I wanted to share another idea. Now I have to kind of set this aside and show you that not only do we have this version in stamps, but we have a version of it in a die and a coordinating hot foil stamp. So you can mix and match these together. You can die cut the words like that and get them foiled. And I decided to try foiling on a piece of Essentials clear, crystal clear plastic. And I used this beautiful reflective holographic speckled foil. This one's by Gemini. This is the Gemini foil press foil, but I do believe Spellbinders makes one that's very, very similar, that has that holographic effect and the gold speckles, and I think it comes in silver too. But anyway, this is a great fun effect, and the colors reflect really nicely, and I hope that you can see the detail on this. Yeah, I had to give you the shaker action. So I actually put a thin layer of foam tape, a double layer thickness, right in between each of these rows of letters so that I could create separate shaker compartments right there. Now, there's other ways to do this, but that was the quickest and easiest for this particular design. But I have all these tiny shaker bits inside there, and I've got some iridescent stars and some gold, those tiny gold stars. I love those things for my shaker cards, and you can hear them when they shake around in there. And I used a die that I will talk about soon that allowed me to create custom confetti in exactly the colors I needed to coordinate with my project. So I've got an ombre inked background going on here in the background of my shaker window, and then I just coordinated different variations of this glitter or confetti to go inside and mimic that whole ombre effect going down the front of the card. And hopefully you can see that. It's so fun. And I love that the confetti doesn't all drop to the bottom. You've got some that, still shows up there along the bottom of each of the words here on this one. So fun. Okay. Now, I mentioned hot foiling onto some crystal clear plastic, and here's another example, of that. But I wanted to tell you that I actually cut my piece of foil larger than this die that I was going to use. I made it almost as big as this piece of plastic, so that way I could take the waste, and the waste is what you have left after you've foiled this, and I use the press plate. And if you're not familiar with the press plate, let me grab it. The press plate is how you can take the waste and foil that onto, or you can just foil an entire piece of solid foil right onto a piece of cardstock using the press plate. But I use that to foil the waste so that I could end up with these letters that I could die cut out of it. And then the inline effect is the reverse. And I think that's so fun because now the whole letter is holographic. So you could do this over, another color of cardstock and have that be the one that's peeking through. But I think it's such a fun effect, and these are ready to go for another project. I haven't had a chance to develop one yet, but I will. Okay, setting those aside, I am now going to, and I wanted to mention how fun it is to have a stash of all these just cut from different colors of cardstock. I just sat there and just cranked them out. So I would have a whole bunch of these ready to go whenever I wanted to make a multicolored Hey You Happy Birthday card. Okay, let's set that aside. And yes, these are just like so fun to play with. Okay, next up is the Tall Happy B-Day. And that one also takes up the entire card front. You could use a couple of little accent images with it, but I just love the presence this has. And here is a very quick and easy example, just using a rainbow effect. And like I did with the other word dies, I die cut a whole bunch of these from different panels of cardstock. And because I centered it, I have negative panels waiting that I can use to glue on top of a card and have the white letters show through if I want, or add multicolored letters to it. It doesn't matter, but I will be able to bust out like a dozen cards, lickety split. And I also wanted to show you a really quick way to get the letters mounted onto your card. I made one of these out of white cardstock. This is just 80-pound Neenah. And you can actually open up your card front or just work with a quarter sheet if you're going to add that to the top of your card. And just use it like that as a template for gluing all those letters into place. And I just use some washi tape to kind of keep it held down there. And apply some glue to each of those letters and pop them down. Yeah. Super, super easy, quick, and accurate. Gotta love that, right? All right, so I'm going to send this one over here and show you another example. Here, I actually combined the letters from the two dies to come up with Oh Happy Day, which I think is a fun variation. And I also, I took a piece of iridescent gold. It's holographic, but it's a solid pattern. It doesn't have any speckles to it. But I just did that over a sheet of a white cardstock, and then I die cut the letters from this die here, and then complemented them with a few letters from the tall happy birthday. So it says, yay you. And one thing I wanted to do was to elevate these skinny letters, but it can be kind of hard to get dimension with skinny letters unless you're painstakingly gluing lots of these die cuts on top of each other. And if you're trying to spell out the whole thing, that might be kind of rough. So one idea that I came up with when I was playing around was, oh my gosh, I could just float these on top of some die cut shapes that complement the overall card, and then it will give that look of dimension without me having to struggle with how to accomplish that. So these are the essential stars, and I just cut 3 shapes in various sizes and popped those up with some foam tape. I'd already stenciled with the new sprinkles confetti stencil set. I just did a little bit of light blue to create a texture and some background there. And notice that the stars are white, and that's because I didn't really want them to take away any focus from the lettering here, but they're a nice supporting element that kind of recedes into the background and lets these take center stage on the card front. Really fun. Lots of fun to play with. So go to town. All right, gonna take this and set that aside. And last but not least is Cake Day, which has a coordinating die set. And the fun thing about this stamp set is that you can make something super simple like this card right here. Now, because of the outline design, if you're one of those persons that loves to color, you got a lot of coloring. You can do a lot of coloring there. I am not one that loves to color. I really love solid stamps. I love when I can two-step things. And so there's a solid here for the candle and for the layers of cake, and you can just stamp that colorful background just like that and create an ombre effect very quickly and easily with some beautiful water-based dye inks. And then just for a little bit of fun, it was my 60th birthday this year. So that's why this is so random. But I die cut the 60, the numbers. These are the classic block numbers, and I just glued the top of the candles behind those to make it look like number candles, because we use those at my house and they're really taggy looking. And if I had my druthers, the number candles on every cake in our house would look like this. They would be gorgeous. But ours look tacky on our cakes. We don't care though, right? So anyway, I thought it was a fun way to, take that idea and morph it into this for my card. And then I love that I have these little confetti dots. I really like the fact that they are not connected. And part of that is because sometimes I want to stamp a whole bunch of different colors of confetti, and I don't want to have to clean the stamp off every time I want to change colors. Because a lot of times, I'm not sure what combination I'm going to go with. And I like being able to mount these to individual acrylic blocks and then just match each one up to a different color of ink pad and then just go to town. Makes it so much faster and quicker. The other thing I really like is that I can configure these. If I want to cluster just 3 of them together onto a block and 2 of them onto a different block, I can do that very easy. So just a fun variation on these particular confetti dots. Yay! So fun. Now, I also wanted to share some fun things about this die. Okay, this was intentional because it allows you to create a shaker window. So you've got your backing if you want to just cut out the whole cake shape like I did here. Okay, or you could do what I did here. I gold embossed on this background layer. That's the, where is it? Right here. This solid piece right here, I gold embossed on that. And I wasn't really concerned about the rest of the image really showing through. All that mattered to me was that the words Happy Cake Day showed through. And I stamped this layer right here with the details of the cake outline. And then I die cut that and did a little bit of ink blending on that to give it, a little bit of color without having to color it in, because me, I'm an anti-colorer. Not totally. I will watercolor. That's my favorite way to color when I have to color. And then I die cut this from plain white cardstock like 5 or 6 times, and I glued all those layers together, and then glued the acetate window, which I cut from this, or the clear plastic, and put that on top, and then I capped it with the stamped layer here. Now the reason why I did that was because then it gave me these individual wells around the happy cake and day that I could fill with confetti. Yeah, more confetti. And this one, woo! It's so fun. Now I didn't want to overfill it because I wanted to be able to have the words still be revealed, but I did want to show you how tiny these confettis are. So, you're sitting there watching a TV show, just crank out a bunch of this confetti and store it somewhere so that you have it at the ready. So you're not doing it at the last minute when you need it, and just have it. I keep it in a cellophane bag. It's ready to go. But I'm thinking like a little jar would be a good idea. Or you could do like different colors, like do a whole bunch of pink, then do a whole bunch of aqua, and keep them all in separate jars. And then when you want to mix, you can create your own custom blend. Right? Spiffy, huh? So I think it's going to be a lot of fun celebrating birthdays with these fun sets. I think they're great for guys and gals and young and old. I think everybody can appreciate a card made with these really fun birthday related products. And I hope you enjoy creating with them as much as I did developing them. So thanks for watching. The new release is available over at ellenhudson.com, and happy stamping.